Our speaker today is Mr. Kun Shi, who has been the director of the USF Confucius Institute since 2010. Kun has a graduate degree in cultural anthropology and has been a guest professor at several universities in China. He is also the author of numerous books and papers on Chinese folklore, shamanism, and teaching Chinese as a foreign language. Welcome, Kun.
Thank you very much, Mary and Kim, for the opportunity and also for the church, for the UU Church. I'm very pleased to share some of the things I have learned. Life is a never-ending learning journey, so I have learned something and I'm very pleased to share that knowledge with everyone. As you can see from the title, the talk is about the diversity of the Chinese religious beliefs. Of course, this topic can take a day or maybe a year to talk about. So I have just about 20 minutes, so I have to really jump ahead. Actually, I just remember Mary's the quote from Confucius, "Don't make your life complicated." Maybe I have made today's presentation a little complicated for 20 minutes on such a large topic. But anyway, if you look at the moving sign here, that represents almost all the major religions in the world. And they all have followers in China. A lot of people don't know. We have Jewish and other, even Sikh. That's quite amazing. And of course, the foundation of the Chinese religion or the tradition is really the yin and the yang symbol. I don't know if you can see the green light here. But yin-yang symbol is really the foundation of the Chinese tradition and also the Chinese indigenous belief system, which also happens to be the symbol for Taoism. Before I go into the religious diversity, I just want to mention how diverse the Chinese tradition is. And the most typical example is the language. If you can see, maybe not very clear to the people at the back, at least you can see the color. Some of the yellow, the red color is really where the so-called ethnic minorities in China, they speak different languages, including the Tungus languages in the northeast, and also the Mongolian in the north, the Turkish-speaking Muslims in the northwest, Tibetans towards the west, and also some of the ethnic groups in southern and southwest China that speak the same language as the Southeast Asians. And for the minorities, they only constitute a little more than 8% of the total population. But that 8% translates into 115 million people. Yeah, any number from China is huge. So for the majority population in China, that refers to the people who look like me, like the musicians you see, and also from our CI staff here, Dr. Zhang and Professor Wang, and also we have a graduate intern here who is taking photos. We are the so-called Han ethnic group, which is the majority population. That's almost 82%. That's about 1.2 billion in China. These Han people are the speakers in the dark brown, basically the brown area in the eastern part of China. And they occupy about 40% of the landmass in China, but the population is like 80% or more. So that's really, that really shows the importance of the relationship between the dominant population of Han and also the ethnic minorities. Well, even among the Han Chinese, this brown area in the eastern part of China, there are several dialects. The Mandarin, of course, is the official language, Mandarin Chinese. And you have the dialect in Shanghai area called Wu, and also in Fujian province and Taiwan, they speak the Ming dialect. And also Cantonese, in Canton, Cantonese speaking is for the Yue dialect, and several other dialects. These dialects are, in spoken language, they are as different as Spanish to French to German, basically. However, they share the same written language. Okay, that's a long story. We'll have to find another time. If you have questions, I'll be pleased to answer those questions later. Okay, here is a list that I calculated based on the surveys out of Wikipedia. These are very rough estimates. The only, you can read the numbers, but the only thing I want to point out is the last item here. I think because the background is green, that's why I couldn't see my green dot. Where is it? Well, anyway, the last point is non-religious. You know, if I put a question mark there because I really doubt this number, because most Chinese are religious or spiritual. If you ask a Chinese, like when I came to this country 26 years ago, I was often asked the question, what's your religion? It's difficult for me to tell them which religion I have because I don't really have a religion. You know, most Chinese believe in different things. Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism all at the same time. My mother is a very typical example. You know, she has no conflicting feelings of stepping into a Taoist temple and then go into a Buddhist temple, you know, on the same day. And so the largest number of followers for the belief system in China, I think, is the first one, folk beliefs in Taoism. Folk beliefs particularly includes the ancestor worship. That's for the majority of the Han Chinese, which is 1.2 billion. So if you count that as a religion, then the last bullet, really, most of it should go to the first bullet. And of course, some people will say the Communist Party members are atheists, they are not religious. Some of them are, but even that, it's only about 80 million people are Communist Party members. So it's not the majority of Chinese. Here is one painting that shows the religious diversity in China. You know, I particularly want to draw your attention to the diversity because quite often the Chinese culture or the Chinese are portrayed as one thing. Almost they are homogeneous of doing one thing. I showed you the religious diversity already. And then for religious the language diversity, and then religious diversity. But at the same time, they are diverse, but they are also quite the same. They share the same thing. This painting was done almost 1,000 years ago by a famous Chinese painter. And it shows three figures in the middle called the three saints laughing by the Tiger Creek. The three saints represent a Confucian scholar, a Taoist master, and also a Buddhist monk. They are all very famous figures in Chinese history. And I think they were the real people documented. Well, the very fact that the three belief systems, they can come together and share a laughing story shows that they don't hate each other. They love each other, they respect each other. So that's the essence of the Chinese belief system, that many people follow all three at the same time. But the three are not opposed to one another, they complement each other. Confucianism is about the human relationships in this world. You know, Confucius does not concern about where or what will happen after your death. And Taoism is mainly concerned about the human relationship with the nature. And Buddhism is metaphysical. It is about where you came from, and particularly about where you're going to go after death. So every human being is encouraged to create your own good deeds if you want to have a better reincarnation. So when the three work together, it really creates, well, I can't say a perfect human being, but it's a better human being. Of course, not everybody is ideal. So even for the Chinese who follow the three traditions, it's difficult to reach that point, but it's something to motivate them to do good deeds. Here is one local example to show you the three religions as one. On the left, this picture is a big temple in Canada. It is the headquarters of the Taoist Tai Chi Society. Of course, Tai Chi is built on the belief of Taoism, but at the same time, they believe, as I just mentioned, they believe in all three traditions. That's why the biggest temple in Canada is actually named Sanjiao Dadian, the big temple of the three belief systems, literary translation. And on the right-hand side is inside the Taoist Tai Chi Society in Brandon, right here in Tampa Bay area. And the shrine actually shows the saint of the Taoist deity, but on both sides, the sign describes the three belief systems as one. And also inside that temple, they put a lot of quotes by Confucius on the wall. So if you go to other main religions, it's not possible. You have quotes from a totally different belief system inside your church. That's not possible. So this is the unique feature of the Chinese belief system. Next few slides, I just want to quickly show you some images of the main belief systems I described. This is the biggest Confucian temple in China, and it's in Confucius' birthplace, Chifu. And every year on the birthday of the Confucius, which is in late September, there is a big ritual there on the upper right corner. And now this ritual is getting larger and larger, not just only Chinese, but also, Chinese in China, but also overseas Chinese go there as well. In the Taoist temple, there are some Taoist temples in cities, but most of the Taoist temples are in the rural areas or up in the mountains. For example, this one is on the Mount Tai in Shandong province. As you can see, it is not easy to reach those temples. Yeah, this is only part of the steps. It's not all the steps. It's about maybe less than halfway, actually. Those people who cannot walk, then they take a cable, cable car. But it's really, it shows your devotion if you want to reach that. And also it shows the relationship between Taoism, the human beings, and the nature, because they are often in some secluded, remote areas. And these two show Buddhism. On the top is the temple that was built right after the Christian era, a long time ago. Of course, in the beginning, it was not so fancy, not so big. It was expanded. But the first temple was built on this site a long time ago, almost 2,000 years ago. And then at the bottom, that's a huge Buddhist statue in southwestern China. If you can see, probably not very clearly, towards the Buddha's statue's feet, those were tiny things, figures, were the visitors, the tourists, and also some believers, they go there. They're just as big as the toe of that Buddha statue. And that was also a long time ago. So these were old images of Buddhism, and these two slides are the new images. These are new big statues built over the last couple of decades. And they are about a female deity in Buddhist tradition in China called Guanyin, or Bodhisattva. And she is the protector of almost every aspect of life, particularly for the fishermen. So the big statue is built by the sea, by the ocean. And the fishermen, whenever they go out, they pray towards her. Now, the next big element is the ancestor worship. I mentioned that most of the Chinese, Han Chinese, follow this tradition. On the top left-hand corner is a very family-oriented practice, and usually ancestor worship is based on the family, and sometimes it goes to the clan, which involves many, many families. Like on the left bottom photo, it shows the the deceased ancestors. You know, each tablet represents one generation. You can go back to many, many generations of the ancestors. And also on the right top hand corner, each year during the spring season, there is a Pure Brightness Festival, which is similar to the Memorial Day in this country. So the Chinese will go to the gravesite of their deceased ancestors and make offerings and burning the incense and also the fake money, paper money, as a wish, you know, to enjoy the happy time with the family member. They still consider them as alive. And they do all these to just to spend the time with the past deceased ancestors, but also to show their respect and also to share some food with the ancestors there. And at the bottom, in recent decades, in the recent past, I should say, this tradition is expanded to the large scale. This is a large ancestor worship kind of ceremony, but this time it's not for individual, but for the legendary Yellow Emperor. So it is organized in North China, and at a provincial level, you have officials involved, many overseas Chinese coming from different countries, together worshiping their legendary common ancestors. Now, I just want to quickly show some slides about other traditions, other belief systems in China. There are millions of Christian followers in China. Here are just 4 photos of the churches in Shanghai and Beijing. And Islam is also has a large follower in China. I think the Wikipedia estimate is about less than 30 million people, 30 million Muslims, but it may be well over that. These are just some of the mosques in Xinjiang in northwest China. These photos, I took them 2 years ago. In China, there's also, I want to show you some of the religious diversity among those so-called ethnic minorities. You know, among the Muslims, we have the Chinese-speaking Muslims. These are the Chinese-speaking Muslims. And they have different tradition from the other Muslims as well. You know, they have their own female mosques and female imams. And this is not common among the other Muslim traditions. And I just want to show you several pictures about the Muslims and the Tibetans, because they often appear on the media in the West, but we don't see their, the Euro picture. Here is the Chinese-speaking Muslim, and their population grows very fast. If you can see that from 1953, 3.5 million to 2010, over 10 million. And the next picture is the Uyghur. These are the Turkish-speaking Muslims in northwest China. And also their population grows significantly, just similar to the previous group, from about a little over 3 million in 1953 to more than 10 million in 2010. And then the Tibetans. By the way, the Tibetans, they also have language diversity as well. There are 3 dialects among the Tibetans, and they actually vary quite significantly. And as you can see, the population grows very fast as well. So many people often ask me the question, well, what's the single family policy in China? And as you can see from here, the single family or single birth actually policy in China, which is now loosened up a little bit, really applies to the dominant population, the Han Chinese, who look like me and like the musicians, but not really to the ethnic minorities, because otherwise their population could not grow so fast. The religious diversity among the Tibetans is also quite significant. You have the main Tibetan Buddhism, and even among that, there are several tracks. Dalai Lama is one line, and also Panchen Lama is another line, a major line as well, and there are other Buddhist traditions as well. And of course, the original indigenous tradition among the Tibetans are the Bon religion that is similar to shamanism. And here, now we have one slide about shamanism in China, which is being revived over the last 3 decades. And the 2 photos on the left are from a museum in a university. And the one on the right is the largest museum focused on shamanism in the world. As you can see, the human figure is at the door of the museum. It's pretty small, so it's a huge museum for shamanism. And then this is my last slide about impact of changes in China. As you can see, you know, the city of Shanghai, we all know it changed a lot. That slide is, I just want to show you the huge changes that have taken place in China has an impact on the tradition and also on the religious beliefs. Of course, some of the tradition is kind of waning, but it's probably a natural process anywhere in the world today. Because when you have globalization, modernization going on, certainly those will be impacted. For example, you know, in Shanghai, but also in a small town in northwest part of China. And it's just phenomenal, those changes. And I just hope that the tradition will remain, just like the yin and yang symbol. It will change, but it will eventually balance out. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank our performers today, Ms. Wu, Mr. Young, and the lion dancers from the Mount Song Martial Arts Academy. I'd also like to thank the University of South Florida for sponsoring this cultural exchange program, And thank you, Kun, for sharing your knowledge of the diverse religions in China. Kun has shown us that China has many religions, just as we do here in the U.S. Another Chinese saying goes like this: the broad-minded see the truth in different religions. The narrow-minded see only the differences. The recognition of the need for love, compassion, generosity, family, and justice are just a few of the commonalities we share with the Chinese religions. And like our Chinese brothers and sisters, we celebrate the New Year as a time of renewal and an opportunity to use rituals to invite prosperity and good luck in the upcoming months. May you all experience a year full of love, joy, and peace. Stand up for our traditional closing.